Hey, Tom, how's it going?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I'm on my Thanksgiving break, so I am enjoying life.
Home and hosed and enjoying it.
Well, Tom, what would you make someone who is just getting into drinking coffee?
Ooh. I'd have to say probably an espresso. I mean, it's a pretty heavy indoctrination into coffee, but it's a good way to taste a roast and the seed as well.
Wow, okay, so just giving them the full experience.
Yeah, straight up, off the bat. You could ease it up by doing like an Americano or a long black or a short black.
You know what? No, just give me the full experience.
Straight up.
Give me the espresso. And I usually don't drink espresso, but you know what? That sounds lovely.
Fortune favors the bold.
Well, that's the menu over there, right?
Yeah, so this little scrolling thing is the menu. If you got about 5 minutes, it'll cycle through.
So what's the inspiration behind your menu?
Well, I think it's two-part. A lot of people tend not to read menus. They kind of know what they want, but a menu I find just a sort of a waste of space. You know, more often than not, it's something that can be negated by just talking to the barista, and because it should be a journey between the barista and the customer.
Yes, I like that. The journey between the barista and the customer.
Exactly, yeah, and it's nice and shiny.
Okay, so tell me about this little lever thing that you just pulled.
So this guy's an Astoria Gloria AL2. So it's a manual lever machine. It kind of allows me to sort of manipulate the pre-infusion of the coffee before the shot is sort of thoroughly pulled through. The beauty of that is that I can manipulate the espresso ratio, which means that I can get different coffees, different tastes from the same coffee from the same recipe. But it's all just down to how I use it and how I how I prefer the coffee being made.
Okay, so you have a lot of power.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I have a lot of customers who just do sort of espresso or black-based coffee, so it kind of keeps them interested and engaged, and I can test out whether or not they can notice a difference or whether a difference is noticeable to begin with. But more often than not, if I say it's going to taste like cherry, they're going to say it tastes like cherry.
They're just going to say, oh, thank you.
Hey, no worries.
Cheers to
Cheers.
our espresso.
Yeah, to waking up.
Wait, okay, so tell me what I should taste when I have this one.
In this one, so this is from, I like to use like a different amount of roasters, kind of like change it up a little bit. So this little guy is from Super Thing Coffee.
Oh, the Hanukkah.
Yeah, I think something that's interesting about Austin coffee in general is the amount of small businesses that are sort of starting up. So I kind of cycle through which roasters I use and who I use. And so this particular one is their single origin Colombian. So it's delicious, it's nice, it's got this sort of, I don't know, milk chocolate. See what you think. It's got a milk chocolatiness to it. Yeah.
Okay. Milk chocolate.
I get a sweetness to it.
Okay, yeah, man, I'm telling you, I feel like my taste buds aren't super refined, and so, yes, you know what, I taste milk. If you say milk chocolate, I'm gonna say I taste milk.
It's a good way to get on my good side.
Okay, so I remember meeting you for the first time back as spokesman.
Yep.
How long have you been here in Austin for?
So I've been in Austin for about coming on to 4 years now. Yeah, so sort of Australian originally, born in Brisbane, and then moved to London via way of Europe, and then sort of came to Austin via way of California.
Ah, okay. Did you move here for coffee?
No, it's interesting. I moved to Austin. Austin's very similar to Brisbane, where I grew up. It's a sort of small community in the sort of little niche communities that it has, but it's also pretty big, and the urban sprawl is quite large. So there's that comfortability. I always wanted to move to America. I didn't know what I was going to do, and I think something about that was just sort of finding what I was good at and sticking to that for a while. But something that lured me about Austin was just its approachability. It's I kind of equate it now. It's an island of misfit toys. It's a bunch of people who are displaced from where they grew up, and they kind of want to be around other people who are displaced from where they grew up.
So is that how you would describe yourself?
That's how I describe myself. Yeah, exactly. I've traveled a bit and been part of a bunch of countries, so I'm kind of very much displaced. But I'm proud to call Austin a second home.
Cheers to that.
Yeah,
all
exactly.
misfits coming together. Okay, so I know you might be tired of sharing this story with me because I've asked you like 3 times now, but I just love it so much. But can you share your first coffee making experience or story?
So it's interesting. So when I moved to London, I started at a coffee shop called Tap Coffee. So I was there and I was training, and I had this sort of month-long intensive of being, you know, in this tiny room with a machine, learning about theory and equipment maintenance and in particular cleaning, which is very important. And as I graduated from that after a month of being in this sort of weird, you know, kind of place. And I remember it was the first time I was behind the bar, and I was, I think just coincidentally in front of the steam one, and this lady sort of comes up to me and sort of noticed that I was Australian, and she leans over and she's like, "Where are you from?" And I said, "Australia." And she leaned over to these 2 other people and goes, and reassures them that the coffee's going to be good. You know, little did she know that I've never made a coffee in my life, and I was terrified of what I was going to do. So she made sure that I made her coffee. I made it arguably the worst cappuccino I've made in my life. The shot had channeled. The milk was disgusting. I remember I didn't purge the steam one to begin with, so it just made this dreadful sound. She took 1 sip of it and she goes, "Bone apple teat." She thought it was fantastic.
You know what? The story gets better and better every time you tell.
It is interesting, and I think that's definitely factored in a lot of my, you know, upbringing was just more upbringing, I should say, with coffee. It's just more about the actual atmosphere, and
Yeah, very
you know, customers tend to sort of, you know, they tend to judge a product, and especially coffee, they judge the product within seconds of being in the shop. And if you can provide something that's a little bit more than just the physical product, then you're doing your job, and that's where you should get the enjoyment out of things.
No, and I really love how you explained that. People around it definitely is a part of that coffee experience. I love that.
Yeah.
I love how you put that.
And you talk to any baristas around, and they sort of have a, you know, similar experience, that that they would have a story that would be very similar to mine, which is great.
As good as yours? Okay, I don't know if anybody can top that one, but
I don't know. They can put on an Australian accent, I think.
what's behind this secret door of yours?
So this little guy is my sort of bathroom, storage closet, and disco place.
Disco.
It's a bit of a mess at the moment.
Wow, I love it. So sparkly.
But I just say it's an art installation that kind of got out of hand. But right now it's storage for all of my plant looking after materials.
So for someone who's never been here, how would you describe this store?
This spot's interesting. So I've partnered with a cidery called Fairweather Cider, and essentially what we sort of set out to do was create something that was a little bit more of an experience-based kind of establishment where people can come and get whatever beverages at any time of day and sort of be looked after. I think to make something interesting and unique was probably penultimate.
And there aren't a lot of places like up north in this area, and so I don't know, it's perfect. I think it's really cool. This
Yeah, no, it's interesting, and even you got the Brains Trust here, middling away doing their work.
Working so hard, right?
Working, pretending so.
Any ultimate personal coffee goals?
Any what, sorry?
Any ultimate personal coffee goals?
Coffee goals?
Yeah, coffee goals.
What I've sort of set out to do is to try and be known for having an unpredictable next step. I think a lot of people might be interested in seeing what I do next and where I take the brand, and I kind of like that. I think keep everyone guessing, but
keep everybody on their toes.
Yeah, also do something interesting, and that kind of helps me make sense of it all. You know, I want to constantly evolve the brand, and I think I've created something where I can do that.
Yeah, and like you said, I think that draws people in. They're like, yes, what will Tom do next?
Yeah, exactly. And I like that.
I love that goal. I'm excited to see what you'll do next.
Oh, stop it. I'll keep you updated.
What's been the most bizarre job you've ever had?
Bizarre job?
Yes, bizarre, like out of this world, like,
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I've had a fairly sort of traditional path in hospitality, but I'd have to say one of the weirdest journeys I had was used to work for my dad, who's an ophthalmologist. He's an eye surgeon, and I screwed up the filing so bad that he sat me down and he said, "Tom, how about we still pay you, but you can just stay at home. So essentially, and he won't say it, but essentially he did fire me.
Okay.
And my mother says that they still find files that I've misplaced to
Oh
this
my
day.
gosh.
So I think that was about 10, 11 years ago. And I remember their specific words were maybe the medical field wasn't for you. And I tend to agree with them,
Yeah.
especially in hindsight.
But wait, you've also had, I remember you telling me that you were almost casted for, that one famous movie that came out.
I was
years ago.
almost going to be in Rogue One. When I was in London, I was doing a lot of extra work because I was a production assistant for a film company, which is actually how I moved to Austin, because we did a shoot for Dell Computers.
Okay.
On the side, my side hustle was just to sort of be a dog's body for a film production. And I remember once I got this text. The system was that they could send you a text saying, "Are you available for the filming?" And the Star Wars production team send out fake names for their movies. Mm-hmm. And so this one they sent out, it was something ridiculous. And I remember sort of hearing it, and I was at work, so I didn't really have time to kind of comprehend. So I just said no, even though I was very much available. And then the next day, I'm not sure what inspired me, but I decided to sort of Google the name, and it turned out that it was going to be Rogue One. And I've never let myself live that down.
You know what? It's okay. Now you're the star of your own show.
No, yeah.
Right? You're the star of your own show.
So instead of fame and fortune, I decided to open up a coffee shop. It's an age-old tale.
Oh, the best life choice.
Exactly, yeah.
Hey, I see a ping pong table over there. Are you good at ping pong?
I'm adequate. I think we're about to see.
I'm actually horrible, so I don't know. If I can score a point on you, that means a lot. I know you're here a lot. But when you're not working, what are you usually up to?
Austin's great for a lot of activities that are kind of happening simultaneously. So I go to a lot of art exhibitions and a lot of shows and a lot of sort of bars, and I think generally be sort of surrounded by the community that I want to be a part of.
Yes, and get energy from people. I'm assuming that you like and
yeah, exactly. And I can tell you this now, that I never really hang around too many ping pong tables. So
okay, let's try. Yes.
Oh, we'll just forget we saw that. just turn that. How good are you? How good are you at editing?
I'm pretty competitive, but you know what? I gotta say,
okay,
you must be worse than me, which means
I'll concede defeat. It was not the right time of day. The wind came in. The bay doors are open, so the wind came in, and every excuse under the sun.
A rematch at one point. Okay, so I really admire how you put in the effort to engage with like everybody who walks through this store, and I'm sure it takes like a level of energy. How have you always been a people person?
That's interesting. I mean, I think so. I think what I kind of do is I think I just have a lot of genuineness to me. I think
yeah, for sure.
And it's something that's interesting, especially coming into America and American hospitality, is that there is an element of maybe people having to present a facade of who they are, especially in hospitality. It's that sort of smile, above it all, and kind of pretend as though if you're unhappy, just pretending as though you're happy, which I kind of don't believe in. I think a lot of people are attracted to me and my business just based on the fact that they know if I'm having a bad day, I'll tell them that I'm having a bad day, but it's not going to change, the fact that they're going to get a coffee or they're going to have a good time or a joke or a laugh. But yeah, I also think I don't take myself too seriously, which kind of helps a lot.
You put yourself out there, and I feel like you're not afraid of people's judgment, and which is that's something that's really attractive, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I think something that I've tried to exercise with this is that once you create the perfect environment for you attract the right people. So I've been fortunate enough that my clientele, my customers, and a lot of the things that I've done have been like-minded people who have just enjoyed the experience, which is fantastic. And again, why I moved to Austin in the first place.
You know what? That deserves another cheers. Another cheers.
Awake all day.
If not Austin, where would you be?
I sort of spent the last 9 years just traveling and being in London, it got a bit too much, so I sort of decided to move just based on that. I don't know, I think I'm in the right place in the right time.
Okay.
I don't think there's anywhere else that I would sort of prefer to be, especially at this stage in my life.
Yeah, Austin welcomes you. I'm glad you're here. And
Well,
I know
it's
a
also
lot of
the-
people are glad you're here.
It's also the one place where there hasn't been overrun by Australians just yet. You know,
just
I'm
yet,
still a
just
commodity,
yet.
so we'll see.
So, over there, a fan asked,
Ah.
which, oh hey, you move. I feel like it changes places every time I come back.
I think if there's something that you can figure out about me is that I have idle hands. I constantly change
so you're
things.
just changing things. Okay,
exactly.
okay. So yes, a fan asked, which of Becky's drawings do you like more?
I would have to say, and also if you've noticed, this one's sold. So we're making some track.
$1,258. Okay,
Yeah.
sold.
Yeah, I mean, I bought it. It was sold to me, so that still counts. I would have to say the traditional turkey is my favorite. Not only that she's done her very best to anatomically get the correct turkey, so I thoroughly enjoy that.
And it's Thanksgiving, so that's
And it's
perfect.
Thanksgiving, so it's the season. You know what I mean?
What?
Oh damn! Hell yeah!
Hello.
Do you know how to make a
Hello.
coffee? I can get you to make a coffee.
He's making me pay. I don't even know if I have the money for it, so we should probably pay for it first. Give yourself what, a $1.50 tip. Cousin Bob's
No?
what did we just been drinking? He might have came from
You come in before, haven't you?
I scouted it out.
And you got it. Your name isn't a full name. It's like an AJ or a T. Yeah,
He remembered me.
yeah, I did.
All right, we'll go.
You know,
We can
I
round
take it you're
up.
not an easy
Should we
man to
round
forget.
up? It just, hopefully,
And I should have remembered that because that's the initials of my name. So I think that's why I did remember
I
that.
have to gain access to a shower first.
But if
and
the
then
police come, I've never seen you before in my life. All right.
The police.
All right. Okay.
See, Tom, I feel like everybody who walks in here can tell you their life. You can get their life story out of them.
That's probably a super good example of it too. That especially in this area, there's just sort of a bunch of characters, but it's to be honest, my day goes a lot quicker when you have interactions like that. It's far nicer.
And I feel like you just really love those interactions too. I can just tell.
Well, I think what's awesome, especially about Austin, is that people are friendly and people are nice, and you know, more often than not, it's people with a story to tell. And I think I've just got two ears, and I kind of just nod and smile, and people want to say it. So I'm super happy to do it.
No, and you did a really good job.
And now we've got that
asking,
story.
And you do a really good job asking those questions.
Oh, thank you. Well, now it looks like I just have to say that they're not paid customers as well, paid actors, I should say. I didn't set that up from the beginning to make myself look cool, but yeah.
Okay, well, I love spending time. I really enjoy every time
good
I come
having
in
you.
here. One last question before I let you go. What's something people would be surprised to know about you?
Oh, interesting. I think we talked about this a little bit before, didn't we? But I think I've got a bunch of sort of weird old stories, but I don't know. Sugar?
Sugar.
This is a simple syrup, so you squeeze in as much or as little as you want. It's concentrated. That's it. You got it. You got it. I feel like you're still going to be fine with it anyway.
Okay.
Enjoy, man.
Thanks.
Do you want a lid?
You have something to stir with though?
Oh yeah, I got a little spoon. None of that wooden spoon stuff. Save the environment, etc., etc. everyone keeps saying sort of like save the turtles, and I'm like,
yes, I've heard
sure.
that.
I'm not sure wooden straws and wooden sticks are taking the turtles out.
The mermaids.
Save the mermaids. That's what I want. They're endangered.
Right.
Then, okay, you two take it easy. Stay out of trouble.
Yeah.
No, I think something weird about me, or something that people wouldn't know. I don't know. I think I'm kind of an open book. I think I've had a weird bunch of journeys, especially now that we're closing out the decade. I've sort of, had a lot of time to think sort of inwardly, and I think I've just had a lot of weird life experiences that will just sort of, happen to fall out if you ask the right questions. But no, I'm kind of an open book. I think weird for me is if this is an indicator of my baseline, weird's an interesting word. Very, very, very relative.
I feel like I learn something new about you all the time. So like you said, you keep it interesting, you keep it spicy.
Yeah, exactly. Keep it spicy.
You
Keep it spicy. Exactly.
Well, thank you again. and I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Thank you very much. Thanks for coming in and taking the time to interview boring old me.
No, oh yes, so boring. Oh my gosh. What am I gonna do? Okay, thanks, Tom.
S. Yeah, that one. You got it.
Don't leave me hanging.
Oh, sorry. yeah, don't let that reflect on me personally. All right, have a good day, all right?